Okay, so hear me out. What about dwarfs riding wolves into battle? I think that would be pretty goddamn cool. And I'll tell you something else that is pretty goddamn cool. Another Total War Rise of Mordor online battle. We are diving in with an epic 3 vs 3. And today will be very exciting because we have kind of like an elven civil war going on right now. We have the dwarfs over on this far left hand side. They're going to be supported by the elite looking Linden elves, which are going to be moving up in all force. On their right flank, they have an army from Gondor sending to reinforce the Elven Dwarven alliance. Going up against them though, however, we do have again the force from Linden, so the other side of the Elven Civil War. They're going to be kind of situated on this left hand side, taking on the Gondorians, using this village as a protective line. Then in the center we have the Men of Dale in all their glory, the Lake Town Guard rushing forward, as well as the Vineland Guard as well. These guys are especially elite, especially with that elven armor. And then obviously on their right hand side we do have the Men of Dunland, so the tribesmen out in force. I mean, again, let's just pause it really quickly to take a look at this. Look how beautiful that axe does look on this warrior. He is definitely ready for battle. These tribesmen have some fairly decent armor on these upper elite soldiers, and then you also have these units right here which look so good in their kind of like Isengard-esque uniforms that they've obviously been equipped with as they march their way into battle. As well as that, as you can see, the battle map itself has this kind of major village in the center that you can actually move through some of the side streets. I believe you can actually make your way through this position and also all the way through here as well, so it'll leave some kind of interesting battle mechanics. And I love this map. I've played on it a few times, but yeah, I definitely like how the battle map is broken up, but you can also kind of have these paths through to either side of the battlefield. Right now we are seeing a heavy amount of cavalry in the center, some merchant escort holding up for Dale. Luckily the dwarfs as well only have access to that merchant escort, so lots of coin being paid this day to these warriors. But I don't think the cavalry fight is really going to erupt too much. I think for the most part the forces are going to be moving in, and it'll be very interesting to see who does win on this right hand side between Lindor and the forces of Gondor. Obviously Gondor have a very standard cavalry. They've got fairly large numbers in their units because they're just kind of like a default man faction, whereas the elves have very small. For example, if you take a look at just the cavalry in their normal Gondorian regiments, they have 70 horses, whereas over on the elves they only have 40 to really show up their elite side. And I think this is a good play by them right now. They're going to be looking to play very defensive on this side, just kind of hold back this side. Oh, look at that, it's like the meme that's going around right now. Yeah, they're going to hold this flank right now and really kind of keep the Gondorians at bay, whilst the other allies really get stuck in there. There's also a lot of cavalry around here as well, as one side does get, further up, and we get some cavalry pushing over to this right hand side. It seems like both sides are really trying to jostle for position right now, and the Gondorians are getting closer and closer and actually taking a bit of missile fire right now from the elves. Obviously the elves have that extreme range on their bows, and I know I keep on mentioning this if you've watched quite a few of my battles, but with the new patch, archers volley off their arrows very quickly, much like the elves should, and they can definitely do some decent damage at whittling down the Gondorian cavalry. These are actually the escort merchants here on this flank from the dwarves. They need to be careful and kind of overcommit here, and it does seem like they're going to go pretty full force right now. Going to just smash in. I mean, as you can see, a unit of Noldrin swords here. This is not the unit that you want holding. Shock infantry cannot repel cavalry, so a really nice move actually here to notice that there is a unit of shock infantry in there, and yeah, ripping right through them. This is a good exchange right now because this unit of Noldrin axemen or swordsmen are very deadly, and every single elf you do kill on this charge is going to be invaluable because there's only 85 of them to begin with, so a really nice charge right there, able to get out with over half the unit, which isn't bad. However, the elves are pounding it with arrow, and you can see a couple more of the horses do actually unfortunately drop down, but I definitely think that was actually a really good trade, whittling down this unit. And again, more cavalry coming in here. The Gondorian cavalry probably looking to come in against the Noldrin swords once again. Obviously they're not going to fare as well against the shipwright nobles. Another good charge there. If they can get out of there without too much hassle, then that is great. The elves really need to bring in some cavalry, something like here, just to kind of countercharge that. Unfortunately, not racking up as many kills and probably taking a handful as they do pull out of that. But still not too bad whittling down this. This charge was obviously much better, and I think that was mainly down to the wedge formation that the escort merchants were in. As well as that, the elves are rinsing through their ammunition quite effectively, which isn't too bad. However, they have lost a handful of cavalry here, which is a little bit scary, because it will give that advantage over to the red team as the battle does continue. We are seeing a big push off here from the London elves over on this left flank. I do like how the elves have split themselves. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it will make the battle a lot more enjoyable, so that's very good. And on this left hand side, they might actually try and get all the way around. I think one of the reluctancies of this battle is why they're not just kind of rushing forward, is because the forces of Dunland are positioning themselves very effectively on this hill, and this is obviously not a position that they really want to give up without a fight. So the attackers are just not looking to engage that whatsoever. I am surprised, though, that both players are being pushed up so much. And I'm also being surprised that maybe one of these guys aren't going to be looking to just charge up right now, because this force is getting very far away. And as soon as they get to, like, this part of the battle map, they could quite easily be just so left behind if both these players were to rush in. And I hope we do end up seeing something like that, because I think this is a great opportunity for them just to descend upon one player and 2v1 him, basically. Even just with the cavalry as well, you could really do some serious damage right now. The Gondorians are getting hammered by missile fire right now. I'm seemingly pretty surprised whether they're not actually pushing up in this battle, because the elves, this is the exact unit that the elves want to be hitting. And right now you can see the arrow fire is finding its mark on a handful of these guys. I say that, though, they're actually pretty tanky considering they are being shot by the Noldrin archers. But maybe, you know, they're just that's the plan all along. Use this unit to absorb the ammunition, because the elves are running low now. So actually, how much missile block does this unit have? Yeah, it only has 15 missile block. I'm surprised it hasn't been melted even more, because the elves are running extremely low. This unit's now out of ammunition, only racking up 30 kills. And this unit has got 40, but is running out of ammunition as well. So actually, I think this might be a good trade for them, because then they can really utilize these skirmishers as well. These are going to be the perfect units to actually go ahead and take down the shock infantry that the elves do have. They have, you know, these really cool, you can kind of see their harpoons right here. You know, pretty deadly, that kind of like fish harpoons that can get embedded into enemy armor very effectively. Doesn't seem like the players are going to be deciding just to kind of 2v1 right now. Seems like the forces of Dunland are going to turn to face the elves. It's going to be a hard matchup for sure, but something they might be able to do if they have enough cavalry support. We are getting another cavalry charge up here as well, really trying to focus down the shock infantry. Again, that was a very nice charge. That's going to do a ton of damage, and even hitting onto the archers as well. I mean, interested to see how many casualties these guys take. As another follow cavalry charge has also come in right there. Yeah, they're going to really rip through a few of these units right now. And what you really need is you need cavalry to be countercharging this. You can just see the Noldrin sword numbers dropping. Now under half strength right there. That's going to make it much easier for the Gondorian forces to come in, and also really reduces the effectiveness of the Elven shock infantry. You know, these are the guys who do the damage, so kind of that focusing it down will just give your infantry more time, and you have that ability to do that damage over time. Okay, it does now look like Gondor are moving in position with their javelins. This is probably definitely the focus of them, of said javelins. The Noldrin nobles, these guys are extremely expensive, and you can see the javelins coming in, causing a pretty large amount of damage right there. And hopefully they'll be able to really reduce this unit, because as I said, this is a very deadly one. 52 melee attack is just brutal, 64 melee defense. There's not much in the game that we'll go ahead and mix with that. You can see the melee attack of the Marines right here is only 26, so you can just kind of truly see the casualty difference. Obviously, these guys do get their javelins and already, you know, taking a decent amount of kills. However, enemy cavalry is circling, looking to try and hit these guys down. The Noldrins are going to be able to actually have a pretty good matchup on this side, considering the amount of cavalry that has been committed and wounded. As well as that, I don't know where the hell this Elven army is going, but it is truly moving over to the flank, and these guys really don't want to give up this defensive position. If I was them, I would just go ahead and 2v1 this guy, leave a couple units back to go ahead and slow up the elves, because they're going to be a little while, and just really envelop the dwarven player. As you can see, the elves have abandoned the dwarfs once again. this day. And as the battle does continue, we're getting a very kind of just cautious play. Another cavalry charge moving in there as well, ripping through this Noldrin swordsman unit. And there's just not enough Noldrin swords left, honestly, to deal with this. I mean, I guess there are a few things the Noldrin player could have done. He could have obviously had his cavalry here, knowing that they're going to come in, and then just countercharge whenever you see that cavalry on the go. Obviously, they use their missiles very effectively to kind of warn off any cavalry. And also, they could have just brought their shock infantry behind these shipwright nobles. These shipwright nobles are so much more effective at repelling cavalry charges, especially in that shield wall. They have so much more mass in the game. They can really do anything. It does seem like one of these Elven units are being sent forward, though, as a forlorn hope into the enemy line. I mean, he's going to pull back, just really trying to scare off these javelins. But there's nothing they can really do. I mean, honestly, I think the best bet for them is just to fully commit. Oh, I say that this unit, I'm not committing quite yet. So, you know, both players in this battle are really kind of just acting back, not trying to do anything. Able to actually repel this unit over on this left-hand side. Do we have support from something else? Yeah, it did seem like these marksmen of Dale have managed to fire a volley right there, which I think is very effective. And we are really just getting a lot of javelins being lobbed in here. Yeah, this unit of Noldrin nobles is fully here. And yeah, I don't see why the Elven cavalry is so scared. They should literally just sit here, and as soon as these guys come in, just move in on them. And there you go, the first little infantry engagement right now. We do have a unit of Pelargir Marines throwing in against the Noldrin swords. Finally, about 16 minutes into the battle, we finally have our first engagement. It's kind of crazy to think that, but both players are playing very safe, not looking to overcommit anywhere along this side. Speaking of which, it does seem like the dwarves are maybe moving some men over. No, the dwarves are still stationary. Just bringing some cavalry over to this side. I wasn't sure if they were going to kind of shift all the way down here to reinforce. But yeah, I mean, this is a perfect unit to go ahead and engage Noldrin spears. Noldrin spears are not a killer unit. They'll win this combat effectively, but it will take them time, right? They're not a type of unit that really just racks up tons of kills. So throwing up a cheaper unit that's already got his money's worth with them javelin volleys is a really good idea. And it's a perfect unit just to hold the elves in place, because again, the elves have so few men, or I guess elves but numbers, as the marksmen of Dale come flying in, sending these Pelargir Marines into the abyss. And that should truly force off the combat to erupt right now. We've got cavalry moving around. There are some big gaps here as well. You can see that the Prince's Coast Guard getting rinsed by the cavalry. And yeah, oh my god, this is going to be a really nice play. Oh no, and the infantry are not braced. The cavalry are going to tear through them again. This is such an expensive unit right now. The shipwright nobles, every casualty they lose is going to be catastrophic right there. Nice charge there by the Gondorian cavalry. And finally, we're getting more and more soldiers fully committing to this battle. This really depleted Elven infantry unit going down as that Gondorian soldier that dispatches the elf like he was nothing, like he hasn't just trained thousands of years to then die in a simple combat. However, the elves are fully committing here into this battle as more and more cavalry comes flying in, trying to rout these archers as quickly as possible. And this battle on the right hand side is absolute mayhem, considering how structured the battle has been. Just to devolve into chaos is awesome to see. Over on the right hand side, we do have the Gondorian cavalry engaging the champion riders, who I can only imagine by the name are pretty decent. They do look like they're fairly heavily armored, decked out with that Isengard armor. But the Prince's Coast Guard are going to come in and just try and really turn that fight into their favor. You're always going to see these Prince's Coast Guard on a flank for Gondor. They're just such a good anti-cavalry force, and they're actually pretty decent at absorbing that missile fire as well as they kind of push back this flank. However, there is a lot of cavalry circling, and this is one of the downsides. The Gondorians just don't have that cavalry to really deal with this, and they're going to get a nice little rear charge here into the Prince's Coast Guard, which is definitely going to severely reduce their numbers. However, as soon as they turn around and reform, they are going to be able to probably deal with these guys fairly effectively as soon as they just kind of reform the line and take out the enemy cavalry, as it does try and pull out of this engagement and into some more of the backsides of these axemen. Warriors, axemen of Gondor thrown in as well to help support the cavalry and obviously deal with the archers here as best as they can. In the center, we are seeing the elves just with their kind of sheer quality breaking through. There's a lot of soldiers on this side, and the Gondorian army is looking very few and far between. I still can't believe the other two sides haven't committed yet. I don't know, where are these guys going to Mordor or something? Is this a force that kind of makes its way to Helm's Deep? Even though I know that's that's Galadriel's elves, but you know, still, where the hell are these guys going? The fight is over here. They're really going on that ultra mega long flank round. And honestly, these guys should just simply go after the dwarves. The dwarves look so beautiful, and we haven't seen them do anything quite yet, you know, with all their new gleaming units and stuff. Like, come on, let's throw yourselves into battle. It seems like the Gondorians are the ones having all the fun right now, as another awesome escort merchant cavalry comes in here just to try and rout these units of elves. Another beautiful charge here as well. Noldrian cavalry making their way in. That's going to rack them up some kills indeed. Able to pull out of that engagement. Some of the axemen probably were able to rack up a kill or two, but nothing too special. And the elves are definitely up against it now, finding themselves enveloped on every single front. Right there. And this is obviously going to be looking pretty bad, because I think Gondor kind of had this one in the bag, because they've got that cavalry. I honestly don't know. I'm surprised that the Gondorians have done as well as they have, or sorry, as badly as they have, because it seems like the elves are still doing pretty decent. Another charge going off into that. However, that was unfortunately messed up by that routing unit. And obviously we do have the merchant escort of Dale moving in as well. Try and countercharge that and then make their way around. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of Elven cavalry here moving in, getting some decent kills. This one up to 77 now, which isn't bad. This one only up to 8, and it's still going to be hunted down by the Gondorian cavalry. We're just trying to rack up as many kills as they can. And yeah, I mean, Gondor are going to claim this one, most likely. I mean, there's still a lot of cavalry over on this side, but Gondor should have this. Another cavalry charge come flying in right now. And you can see them engage. You can see the difference between the two escort merchants as well. These guys have dwarven shields. These guys kind of have Lake Town, you know, kind of marine shields from Dale. And this is, again, one of the reasons as well. I really think that the attackers should have just, also the red team should have really just pushed on these guys right now. Because now the dwarves can push up their entire army. You can see the dwarves are on the march. They can go ahead and, yeah, push this up, knowing that their flank is good. Like, as soon as they engage the men of Dale in the front, they're going to be in a very good situation, because the Gondorians are going to come crushing in a couple minutes' time and really help win them that fight. I'm also very excited as well to see the awesome-looking mountain infantry going. Like, these guys, just look at that shield, that infantry. God damn. The dwarves look so goddamn amazing. So closing in the distance, biding themselves time, because look at that. Yeah, Gondor have really cleaned this one up. It did look a little bit shaky for them for a second, honestly. There was a pretty big position here where the elves had got that overlap, but winning that cavalry engagement is just insane. What the hell is happening here? I cannot believe the elves have just kind of gone on a massive walk here, and they're going to just try and simply envelop the enemy forces. As I keep on saying, really missed an opportunity there to gang up on the dwarfs and bring them down. So yeah, right now we are getting the last kind of remnants of cavalry from Dale being brought over here. Quickly, hopefully these Princess Coast Guard can reform. They're actually going to get countercharged by Gondorian cavalry in there. Unfortunately, Princess Coast Guard probably didn't make it, and it's going to end up routing momentarily. More reinforcements coming in, though, and this cavalry is not going to be able to make it out of it. I cannot imagine. I imagine Gondor will be pursuing them, taking them down, and at least, you know, severely reducing their numbers. We have the last holdout right here, I think, from the elves. You have the shipwright nobles with only a handful of men left. I guess I keep on saying men, I should say elves. Finding themselves up against him, that's them being broken down. And now the archer fire is being flung at the dwarf. The arrow axes, their armor is thick, their shields are prepared to repel any missile fire that hits them. And they're going to descend upon Dale so goddamn quickly. Again, I love this unit. It looks so good. Them dwarven shields are just spectacular. They really are. Them capes, oh, is so beautiful. And, you know, in a straight up match, you're not going to be beating the dwarfs in that engagement, as they do end up clashing once again. More reinforcements being thrown forward. They even have their halberds ready to be committed to stock infantry, anything you need. The dwarfs do have it. And their allies are going to be reinforcing. But I don't know if the dwarves will even need it. You know, it's such a strong faction in the game. And they're already able to get some of their infantry through the gaps and onto the marksmen of Dale before they can even use their ammunition. So the dwarves, very effective right there. Unfortunately, we do have a unit of their, axemen and shock infantry onto the Lake Town Guard, which are a pole infantry unit. So they can actually kind of, somewhat do a decent job against the axemen. However, as you can see, this flank has crumbled. And the Gondorians are very close to coming in. Knights of the Silver Swan. We have Gondorian cavalry already roaming around. And the elves still have not gone ahead and committed to this fight. Where the hell are you guys going right now? I don't understand what the plan is here. It does seem like some of the cavalry is going to pursue them. We are getting some charges right now. The Dundon cavalry throwing themselves in against the enemy cavalry. With this unit actually just charging in for some reason into the Noldran nobles. And they're going to definitely take their pound of flesh as these guys pull out of this battle. I just don't know what the hell happened here. But even still, they are, what should have happened to the dwarves is now happening to them. They're getting 2v1s right now, which is obviously going to be pretty goddamn crucial as the cavalry is just running amok. There's just not enough men. Like, they need the forces of Dundon to really be protecting that flank as another cavalry charge comes flying in that wedge formation, so it's going to be as effective against the lighter formation of archers, but still pretty goddamn deadly. Plenty of kills back here. We do have the unit of the elite Dalian cavalry right now. They are fully engaged against the Gondorians and should be able to withstand that. We do also have Knights of the Silver Swan, though, one of the best shock cavalry units in the game, and also pretty good in melee. And obviously, you just have all that reinforcements as more and more Gondorians arrive to the fight. But yeah, let's go and get some more close-ups of the dwarves fighting, because we haven't really seen them. I know everybody loves to see the dwarves fully get stuck in. So Gondorian rider gets dismounted right there. Some of the Tomb Guardians as well, or Tomb Wardens, one or the other, in their golden armor. The Hammerers just able to really get themselves stuck in. Are these the Tomb Wardens? No, these are the Reclaimers. Yeah, the Reclaimers right there. Oh my god, the cavalry frontally charging halberds is not a good idea, and you saw why. However, Knights of the Silver Swan are set up, and obviously you do have them Reclaimers in the back just hammering these polearm units. And the elves are going on an adventure still, deciding to finally commit themselves to this battle. I mean, they're even exhausted. Look at that. Their vigor symbol is actually getting down there, almost yellow right now. That's how tired they are. But I mean, yeah, what a slaughter. This unit of Dalian infantry is fully surrounded by dwarves. And yeah, now we can start to see this amazing unit of Ered Mithrin veterans smash down on honestly one of these stronger infantry units. Finally, Dundon have come to support. A nice little rear charge there onto the dwarves. Going to be a big help to them. Any cavalry support is going to be great. However, they're going to be scared off by the defending cavalry. Yeah, really, you can just see the Gondorians and Medallion horses being thrown back. Oh my god, that soldier's got his head carved in right there. That was brutal. And you can definitely see that this battle is not going in favor. I'm sorry, what the hell are the elves doing right now? I just truly do not understand. This battle has basically been won by Gondor, I would say, pretty much, whilst every other player is just kind of sat around and not done anything. What a funny battle. It's just hilarious. Now the elves at this point realizing that victory is almost assured, now charging in. However, I feel like that's very much an elven thing to do, right? Just kind of like, sit back, see how the battle's gonna go, and then commit yourself. You haven't lived for 5,000 years just to throw your life away on the forlorn hope. So that is absolutely hilarious that he did sit back and do that. And obviously, you just got about 4,000 men ready to come in there. We'll finally get to see this Linden elf force moving up. I was not expecting them to do this whatsoever. And as I keep on saying, guys, in all of these Rise of Mordor battles, if you are enjoying this, make sure you do drop a like and a comment down below. I always love doing Rise of Mordor. The team is working exceptionally well right now. They're showing their campaign footage and all that awesome stuff over on their YouTube channel. Their Discord is constantly hosting battles, so definitely go check them out. I'll leave the links to them down below in the description. I highly do recommend it. And then maybe you can get yourself featured on the channel as well at some point. It seems like for this one, the battle is coming to a close. The reinforcements are quite quickly arriving. The cavalry is charging through. And honestly, a very decisive victory in the end, with the allied forces only losing, you know, just under half of their army. That's not bad whatsoever, considering this is, you know, pretty much a total victory right now. And we barely even got to see Dunland throw themselves into this battle. You can see a few of their berserkers now engaging, a great unit to deal with the shipwright nobles, but simply too late. Too late indeed. As we now get some more Noldrin spears making their way around. Yeah, just looking at closest, I mean, as you can see, reinforcements have arrived, and that's going to just spread a mass rout for the forces of evil right there. And a close victory for the Dwarven Elven Man Alliance, I guess. So GG indeed. And yeah, I think it just mainly came down to that Gondor fight, obviously going in favor of Gondor, and then the two players not descending upon the dwarves and devouring them like I think they could have with just their massive cavalry, whilst the elves were on that adventure, that walk to Mordor that they were so planning on doing. I of course want to go ahead and give a massive thank you to everybody who played in this battle. I really do appreciate the replays and keep them coming. As I said earlier as well, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.